Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Joanne Magley. On today's program, we'll introduce you to Volusia County's newest council member, Dr. Fred Lowry. Plus, find out why parents and young children are being encouraged to read 1,000 books before kids enter kindergarten. And Amber Patterson will join Dave Byron in the studio to talk about what's new at the DeBary Hall Historic Site. Those stories and more coming up on Volusia Magazine. The Volusia County Council kicked off the new year January 8th by welcoming a new member. Dr. Fred Lowry Jr. of Deltona was sworn in at the first meeting of 2015 as Volusia County's new District 5 representative. Lowry, who was elected in November, represents the south half of DeBary, all of Deltona and Enterprise, and most of Osteen. No stranger to elected office, Lowry served on the Deltona City Commission from 2010 to 2014. Also taking the oath of office were County Council members Joyce Cusack, Pat Patterson, and Deb Denny's, all who won re-election in November. The Honorable Terrence Perkins, Chief Judge of the 7th Circuit, administered the oath of office. County Chair Jason Davis and members Doug Daniels and Josh Wagner, who weren't up for re-election last year, round out the 7-member policy-making board for Volusia County government. Dr. Lowry is a former school teacher and has served as the senior pastor for Deltona Lakes Baptist Church since 1993. He and his church minister to the residents of Southwest Volusia, providing counseling, food for the needy, and other resources. Dr. Lowry founded and leads the Deltona Pastors Fellowship, the city's largest ministerial association.
Well, I'm just hoping to work along with everybody just to present a united front from the council. I like to see businesses come in, work to that endeavor to bring jobs in for people, good paying jobs. And I think it's essential that our cities work together, work with the county. Our county shows a united front. And when you have everybody on the same page working together, businesses like that.
The County Council also voted to keep the long-standing schedule of holding regular meetings at 9 a.m. the first and third Thursdays of the month at the county's main administration building in DeLand. SunRail commuters now have an additional night route. The Florida Department of Transportation recently added a round-trip train to test customer demand for late evening SunRail service. SunRail will leave the DeBary station in Volusia County at 9:05 p.m. with an arrival at the Sand Lake Road station in Orlando at 10:08 p.m. The additional train then will leave the Sand Lake Road station at 10:20 p.m. and arrive in DeBary at 11:23 p.m. This additional train will help satisfy customer demand for service later in the evening for events at the Amway Center, the new Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, and additional evening activities along the Central Florida Rail Corridor.
There are some hospital workers from Orlando Health and Florida Hospital that their schedules may line up with this late night service and may work out for them. And then we have those downtown venues. And so the question is, did the downtown venues or the events in Orlando play into this? And the answer would be yes, they did have a play into us expanding the service, but we also want to see if some of the hospital workers and other people who work later night shifts will be taking this train.
As is the case with SunRail operations, the additional train will not operate on weekends or most federal holidays. SunRail passes are available for riders who travel less often but still want an alternative to driving in their personal vehicles. For travelers who plan to ride SunRail routinely, getting a reusable and reloadable plastic Sun card is the better way to go. Votran, Volusia County's public transportation agency, is providing feeder service to the SunRail station in DeBary. 3 buses transport riders to and from the station from 4:15 to 9 a.m. and again from 3:15 to 8:30 p.m. Sun cards can be purchased from any ticket vending machine at all SunRail stations, on the internet, or from an authorized retailer. For more information, to calculate commuter costs, or for a full schedule, visit sunrail.com. Preschoolers can get a head start on reading skills with the Volusia County Public Library's new Reading Rewards program, 1,000 books before kindergarten. Parents and children may sign up at any library branch. They'll receive a bag with a reading log and suggestions for getting started. Children can read 1,000 different books or repeat some of their favorites. They all count. Each time they reach 100 books, they'll receive a reward. Library staff will have a celebration for each child who reaches 1,000. The program's objectives are to encourage parent and child bonding through reading and to promote reading to infants, toddlers, and preschoolers.
Reading aloud to a child has so many benefits. Hearing language helps children understand the world around them. And also reading and cuddling together builds trust and helps children feel safe, which is a fantastic learning environment. We're hoping here at the library to help cultivate a lifelong love of learning with this reading program, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten.
Research shows that reading out loud to a child is the #1 indicator of how well a child will read. In fact, the more words parents use when speaking to an 8-month-old infant, the greater the size their child's vocabulary at the age of 3. Learn more about the Volusia County Public Library system at volusialibrary.org.
I'm Volusia County Chair Jason Davis. The University of Central Florida is running a very successful business incubator at Daytona Beach International Airport in partnership with Volusia County. The UCF Business Incubation Program is a collaboration and economic development between UCF and the Florida High Tech Corridor Council, which links startup companies with experienced professionals and provides access to educational programs that lead them to business success. The goal of the incubation program is to offer a supportive environment to inspire the entrepreneurial spirit, accelerate business growth, and create local employment opportunities. For more information, visit www.incubator.ucf.edu.
The VMA Manufacturing Alliance recently honored several local manufacturers at its 34th annual awards banquet. In the upcoming weeks, I will profile several of the winners in my Business Beat report. Today, we visit Thomas & Betts in Ormond Beach. Thomas & Betts produces low-voltage electrical equipment. At the recent 2014 VMA Awards, the manufacturing company took home the honors for green process.
We were very excited because we do try hard, and we're not going for the recognition. We just want to do the right thing and always improving. We're always looking for new ways to be more green and sustainable.
Jane Fugler, Environmental Health and Safety Specialist for the company, says the green process includes recycling what would otherwise be scrap.
We work with a lot of metal, and with that there's going to be ends that aren't being used or rejected parts or just little pieces of scrap generated. And we collect all of that and separate it out to the different metals and actually get it recycled. We have it shipped off for to be remelted and reused again.
Part of the green process includes recycling PVC scrap, which is then shredded and turned into siding for homes. PVC is used as a protective coating for certain electrical parts that need protection from weather elements. In its first year implementing this recycling initiative, the company recycled 43,000 pounds of PVC. But Fugler says the green process is more than just recycling.
The materials we actually use, we try not to use dangerous or hazardous chemicals in them. And a lot of companies that purchase our products are concerned about that. They don't want to have dangerous chemicals in their products that they use from us.
Conserving energy and water is another initiative practiced at Thomas & Betts. The company reduced its electrical usage by 84% over a 2-year period.
We recently did some remodeling, and every time we do remodeling now, like in our restrooms, we get low water usage facilities in there, and we also have now installed, anytime we change our lighting out, we use more efficient bulbs, But also we have light sensor, motion sensor bulbs. It automatically shuts off. We don't have to think about it.
When it comes to future green initiatives, Thomas & Betts is implementing a new wastewater treatment process that will save an additional 3.5 million gallons of water per year at their plant.
We have a plating process, so we are dipping products into metal, and that creates a lot of wastewater, and we use a lot of water and then we create the wastewater, and we have to treat that wastewater before we can send it to the city. So we are in the process of putting in a new system where instead of giving our wastewater back to the city, we are treating it so we can reuse the water, and that will significantly reduce the amount that we need to take into the plant.
In addition to the VMA Green Process Award, Matt Kaywood, the Research and Development Manager at Thomas & Betts, received the Dream It, Do It Champion Award for his work in mentoring high school students in the first robotics program at Spruce Creek High School in Port Orange.
So with the kids, what I do is mentor them from a design standpoint on the robot. They have a very difficult challenge in being able to produce a robot in 6 weeks. Just to see them grow and their skill sets and their confidence level. You know, in several of our competitions, the team has really excelled, and it's great to sit there and watch the kids' confidence grow.
Thomas & Betts, the VMA 2014 winner for Green Process and Dream It, Do It Champion. For the Business Beat, I'm Joanne Magley.
Hello, I'm Reggie Santilli, and I'm a member of Volusia Eco Advisory Committee. The volunteer group works closely with Volusia County Council and makes recommendations on projects that enhance the quality of life for our citizens. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve in this capacity. If you would like to share your skills and serve your community, why not consider joining one of Volusia County's advisory boards? We have openings on several boards. If you want to make a difference in your community, please visit volusia.org/advisory.
Smoking is bad for your health, and not only for the smoker. Smoking also affects innocent bystanders in the community. Secondhand smoke is easily transmitted through the air and affects those around you, especially children. Stephanie Strong has more in this segment of Community Health Matters.
An estimated 88 million non-smoking Americans, including 54% of children aged 3 to 11 years, are exposed to secondhand smoke. Driving while smoking is becoming especially dangerous because of the confined space that leads to intense secondhand smoke inhalation by passengers.
It's extremely dangerous for children because their bodies are still compromised, they're still developing, and sometimes the toxins that are taken in by those children can emit some dangers to their developing bodies.
Secondhand smoke comes from lit cigarettes and cigars. It also comes from smoke breathed out by smokers. When children breathe secondhand smoke, it is like they are smoking too. All Americans, smokers and non-smokers, pay the price for smoking. Smoking is still the leading preventable cause of death in the United States, causing 443,000 or nearly 1 of every 5 deaths annually. These include 46,000 heart attack deaths and 3,400 lung cancer deaths among non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke.
Secondhand smoke is the smoke that's emitted off of a tobacco product. It could be cigarettes, it could be cigars. Any lit tobacco product is going to emit the smoke. The smoke that comes off of it while it's lit, whether it's from the burning end of a cigarette or whether it's from the smoke that a tobacco user would exhale, is what we call secondhand smoke.
As smokers go about their day, some tend to disregard secondhand smoke as a danger. Ask people not to smoke around your children. Support family and friends who also want to stop smoking. Decide to have a smoke-free home and car, and ask family and friends to respect that decision. Get rid of all ashtrays in your home. Teach your children to stay away from secondhand smoke, and encourage your teens not to smoke.
Each year, 37,000 Americans die in car accidents. And 38,000 are killed by secondhand smoke. To quit, visit floridaquitline.com or call the Quit Line for free counseling and information.
For more information, please visit www.volusiahealth.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, log on to volusiahealth.com. And now, let's join Community Services Director Dave Byron with our studio guest, Amber Patterson, manager of the DeBary Hall Historic Site.
Well, thanks, Joanne, and hi, everyone. You know, the DeBary Hall Historic Site in southwest Volusia County is one of Volusia's most significant historic resources. The 1880s home of Champaign magnate Frederick DeBary, DeBary Hall is a county-run attraction that offers a wide variety of programs focused on the rich history of West Volusia County and the historic St. Johns River. Today we have with us in the studio Amber Patterson. She's the DeBary Hall manager, and we're going to find out what's going on at this historic resource these days down in southwest Volusia County. Amber, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for being with us. So normally we have you on the front of the program as our host, and so now you're our guest. So you're, I guess,
this is
a person of multiple talents, huh? Hey, for those folks that you know, are not familiar with DeBary Hall, give us kind of a description of this facility.
It's an 1870s
I said
historic
1880s.
site.
It's 1870s.
Well, a lot happened during the 1880s
Okay.
too, but it was built in 1871 by Frederick DeBary. That was
Right.
his name. And he was a champagne importer, wine importer, bottled water importer, made a lot of money. He lived primarily in New York, but what he wanted to do was vacation in Florida during the winter months.
Right.
And so he was looking around and he decided on the banks of the St. Johns River was the place he wanted to be. So he built his 8,000 square foot, mind you, hunting lodge
Right.
here in Florida.
So I guess we could say Frederick DeBary was one of the early winter visitors in Volusia County.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, a person of quite a bit of money. He was a person of means.
He was. In fact, he was able to amass some 6,600 acres just for recreational use, which kind of helped preserve that land for us today.
Right.
You know, we have less now. The historic site itself is 10 acres, but a lot of DeBary is considered a bird sanctuary, and it's got beautiful parks, and a lot of that is because it was in his property
Right.
for over 70 years. So.
Back in the days when river travel on the St. Johns River was really the mode of transportation, and for, I guess, for both pleasure and commercial uses.
Yeah, the river story is one of the most important stories that we tell at DeBary Hall, simply because it was the main thoroughfare through Florida at the time.
Right.
And it is so integral to the growth of our community, and it's how Frederick DeBary got here. He arrived on a steamboat, and how all of his property got here, how people got supplies, and it was also, as you guessed it, for pleasure. They did a lot of fishing and a lot of boating. It's the perfect place.
And he entertained some pretty high society people, and my understanding from talking to people like you is there were some good times down there.
They did, and of course, if you're a champagne importer, you're gonna entertain with your champagne. And so, yeah, and to this day, we still find champagne in the ground. They actually did a lot of their gardening. Their flower beds were lined with empty champagne bottles.
Wow.
Which is a really cool idea if you think about it. No waste.
Hey, so how did the county come into control of DeBary Hall? My understanding is it goes back to like the 1990 period?
Yeah, it was in the early 1990s that the county entered into lease with the state of Florida. Actually, it's owned by the state of Florida, the main house itself and some of the initial grounds. And in the 1990s, the county, got a lease with the state of Florida and began to restore the main house and some of its outbuildings. And over time, we were able to open up with regular hours of operation for tours and for events and eventually rentals. And then as we continued on with the restoration of all the buildings, we were able to restore the other buildings and buy a little bit more property surrounding it. So now it's a park as well as a historic site.
And it's interesting, like so many good public projects, DeBary Hall's restoration and so forth was kind of spearheaded by a group of citizens who said, hey, this building needs to be restored, and they kind of set the wheels in motion for multiple phases of restoration.
Indeed, yes. In fact, that goes back to the early 1970s, I think it was, when DeBary Hall was put on the National Register of Historic Places.
Right.
And then after that, as time continued, locals in the area who volunteered at DeBary Hall began an organization called DeBary Incorporated, which is now the Friends of DeBary Hall.
Right.
And so over time, they were able to lobby with the county and with the state to save this resource. And so now we have it to share with everyone.
So the mansion, I guess, was restored first, and it was restored according to historical integrity. I mean, this isn't something that you go to the neighborhood hardware store and buy something. You have to meet a lot of historic guidelines to do this. And so the mansion was done first, as I understand it.
Indeed, yes. We are under the guidelines of a historic preservation officer who is a liaison to the state, and everything that we do follows the Secretary of Interior standards for historic preservation.
Right.
And it's a good way to do things when it comes to a nationally significant site.
I know the window panes and the nails and the glass and everything else were cataloged and saved and then reused and were put back to the original condition.
We save everything we possibly can, and then we restore it with like materials. If we have to replace anything, we actually have an architectural salvage firm that helps us find pieces to put back.
Now I know that the barn has been done, and that's again one of your most usable public features of the building. You can have a lot of events and so forth in there. So tell us about the barn.
That was restored more recently in 2007, and it was a labor of love, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. But we were able to restore it and make some changes. So we did a little bit of rehabilitation to it in addition to restoration. So what we did was we opened up the space to make it appropriate for meetings, social gatherings, and public workshops and programs. But then, of course, we added your creature comforts like modern plumbing, bathrooms, electricity, air conditioning, all of that kind of thing to make it more comfortable for everybody.
So Amber, when the public comes to DeBary Hall, one of the things that they get to enjoy is a very nice movie depiction of what life was like back in those days, and it kind of takes you on an adventurous tour from Jacksonville, I guess, down to DeBary Hall. It takes you, what, some 13 hours? Something like that?
Yeah, we tell people to pack a bag because it's quite a trip. I joke when I say that because we've really condensed that trip to 15 minutes, basically. But we wanted people to feel like they were invited as guests of Frederick DeBary himself and that they were on vacation. And what a better way to start your vacation than to actually do what Frederick DeBary did, and that was get on board a steamboat in Jacksonville.
Probably sip some champagne on the way down.
Maybe sip some champagne and then come on down the St. Johns River and get to Enterprise. That was a 13-hour overnight trip, and it was not an easy ride. It's not like you can just hop in the car and boom, you're there. And so when people came, it was a commitment to come, basically, and it's a nice ride.
So the mansion itself has been restored, and you know, the furnishings are of period. Are any of those furnishings, do you think, originals from when DeBary was actually there?
Well, I can tell you all of the artwork is from Frederick DeBary's collection. In fact, when the family found out that the county was restoring it and opening it to the public as a historic site, they contacted the Friends of DeBary Hall. And it was through an agreement that the artwork came back to DeBary Hall for display in the house. And so all the artwork that you see is very, very special for that reason. Some of the pieces that we have in the house are period and from Frederick DeBary's time, some of the cabinetry and some of the dining room pieces. And the rest, what we tried to do is through a process of photo analysis where we look at photos from Frederick DeBary's time period, and then we try to match them up with antiques that are appropriate for somebody of his station and of the time period.
So people can tour the mansion, they can view the movie, and of course the grounds at DeBary Hall are beautiful. You have that wraparound porch, which makes for some magnificent photographs.
It does. It's the perfect place to take your family pictures, let me tell you. And it's the perfect place if you want to pack an afternoon picnic and just enjoy the area. You can bike ride up to DeBary Hall. We have a bike trail and a trailhead.
Yeah, it's a trailhead, yeah.
Yeah, we have, great parking, and we also connect. Our trail connects with other parks, so it's just a great way to spend an afternoon and a very picturesque way to do it too.
No, you mentioned the DeBary family. I'm curious as to whether there are any members of the DeBary family still alive or still in this area.
Well, the last direct heir of Frederick DeBary passed away in 1941, so there are no living descendants directly from Frederick DeBary. There are distant family members who are in the United States and all over the world, and every once in a while we hear from a family member. In fact, recently we were contacted by a member of Laney DeBary's family, and he sent a cigarette case that belonged to her.
So I know that you have a lot of events at DeBary Hall, and of course it's a popular place for winter visitors to come down and enjoy an afternoon in southwest Volusia County. What sort of events do you have down there, Amber?
Well, we have a very popular Lemonade Lecture Series. That's every other Saturday, where we invite different experts in fields of historical topics to come out. And they do a presentation at 2 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, and it's very fun. And then we also have hunter safety classes throughout the year. Those are put on by Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. And then we also have Master Gardener Series out there, too.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of things for people to do, and we do a lot of programs for children too.
So for people that may want to rent the facility, my understanding is the facility is for rent for, I guess, family events and that sort of thing, and even corporate events, I guess.
Yes, it is a perfect place to rent if you want to have a meeting, for a corporate meeting, or maybe a leadership retreat, or if you're getting married and you want a really nice country estate to have your reception. It's just a great place to come because it's conveniently located off of I-4, but you get the impression that you're in a secluded country estate when you're there, and you have no idea that you're in the middle of this urban area.
So what are your hours of operation, and is there an admission charge?
There is an admission charge. It's $5 for adults, $4 for seniors, and $2 for children. And we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then we're also open Sundays from noon to 4 p.m.
Wow. And you have a great website, I believe.
DeBaryHall.com.
Well, Amber, I want to thank you for sharing the information about DeBary Hall. It is a resource managed by county government. It is an historic facility. Of course, the city of DeBary wouldn't be DeBary without Frederick DeBary. So you're all tied to the history there. So thanks for sharing the information with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Our guest today, Amber Patterson, she's the manager of the county's DeBary Hall Historic Site. And with that, we'll go back to you, Joanne.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching this edition of Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the program, call us at any of the numbers you see listed here, or log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen. There, you'll find information about county meetings, workshops, and you can even listen to live county council meetings. And be sure to tune in to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's weekly public radio program. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Joanne Magley. Have a great week.